Have you ever felt that your entire life was leading up to one single moment? For Leo, that moment was today, at exactly 10 o'clock in the morning. He stood in front of the massive glass tower of the Sterling Creative Group. This was not just any company, it was the company. They designed the logos that everyone recognized and the campaigns that changed the world. Leo had his portfolio tucked tightly under his arm, and his heart was racing like a drum in a quiet room. He had spent years studying every detail of graphic design, working late nights, and drinking far too much coffee. Today, all that hard work was either going to pay off or vanish like smoke. The lobby was cold and smelled of expensive perfume and fresh flowers. People in sharp suits moved quickly, looking at their phones and never making eye contact. Leo felt small in his best suit, which now felt a bit too tight around the neck. He walked toward the reception desk, where a woman with silver hair was typing at a blinding speed. She did not look up until he cleared his throat twice. "I am here for an interview," Leo said, his voice cracking just a little bit. The woman looked at him, her eyes scanning him from head to toe, and then she pointed toward a row of elevators. "50th floor," she said, "and go straight to the glass doors." Leo thanked her, but she was already typing again. He walked to the elevator and pushed the button. As the doors closed, he saw his reflection. He looked nervous, but he told himself that he belonged here. He had the talent and he had the passion. All he needed was the chance to prove it. The elevator climbed fast, making his ears pop. When the doors opened, he stepped out into a space that looked more like an art gallery than an office. Large paintings hung on the walls, and the furniture looked like it was from the future. He walked toward the glass doors, but just as he was about to push them open, something caught his eye. Near the corner of the waiting area, a small, older man was struggling with a heavy water bottle. He was trying to lift it onto the water cooler, but his hands were shaking. Several people walked past him, wearing expensive watches and carrying leather bags. None of them stopped. They were too busy, too important, or perhaps they just did not care. Leo looked at his watch. It was 9:55. He had 5 minutes until the biggest interview of his life. If he was late, even by a minute, the job would be gone. But he looked at the old man, who looked exhausted and frustrated. Leo sighed and walked over. "Let me help you with that," Leo said, putting his portfolio down on a chair. The old man looked up, surprised. "Oh, thank you, young man," he said, stepping back. "This thing is much heavier than it looks." Leo gripped the heavy plastic bottle and with a quick movement lifted it up and flipped it into place. The water bubbled and the old man smiled. "You have a strong back," the old man remarked, wiping his hands on his trousers. Leo smiled back, though he was checking his watch again. 9:57. "I just hate to see someone struggling," Leo replied, picking up his portfolio. "Have a good day." "Sir. You too," the old man said as Leo hurried toward the glass doors. He made it to the reception desk inside, just as the clock turned to 10. A young man with a very serious face looked at him. "Leo Miller, he asked. Yes, that is me, Leo said, trying to catch his breath. Follow me, the assistant said, leading him down a long hallway. They reached a large wooden door at the very end of the hall. The assistant opened it and motioned for Leo to enter. Inside, there was a long table made of dark oak. 3 people were sitting there: a woman in a navy blazer, a man with glasses, and a third chair, which was currently empty. Please take a seat, the woman said. I am Sarah, the head of design. This is Mark, our lead strategist. We have looked at your work, Leo. It is very impressive. You have a unique style. Thank you, Leo said, feeling a bit more confident. I believe that design should tell a story and connect with people on an emotional level. They began to ask him questions. They asked about his process, his favorite projects, and how he handled criticism. Leo answered well. He felt a rhythm building. He talked about his love for colors and how he believed that even the smallest detail could change the way a person felt. Sarah and Mark nodded, taking notes, but Leo noticed that they kept looking at the empty chair. We are just waiting for our CEO, Sarah explained. He likes to have the final say on all new hires. He is a bit unconventional, but his vision is what built this company. Suddenly, the door opened. Leo turned around and his heart stopped. Walking into the room was the same older man from the hallway. He was no longer wearing a dusty sweater. He was wearing a tailored gray suit, and he was smiling. Hello again, the man said as he sat down in the empty chair. Sarah and Mark looked confused. You two have met? Sarah asked. Briefly, the CEO said, looking directly at Leo. He helped me with a very difficult task in the lobby. Most people today are too busy looking at their own feet to notice anyone else. But this young man stopped, even when he knew he was in a hurry. Leo felt a wave of relief wash over him. He did not know what to say. Leo, the CEO continued, we get hundreds of portfolios every week. Many of them are as good as yours. Some might even be better. But at this company, we do not just hire portfolios. We hire people. We hire people who notice when something is broken. We hire people who help without being asked, because that is what a great designer does. They see a problem and they fix it. The CEO looked at Sarah and Mark and then back at Leo. I think we have seen enough, he said. Leo, your work is excellent, but your character is exactly what we have been looking for. Welcome to the team. Leo could hardly believe it. He stood up and shook their hands. His palms were sweaty, but he did not care. As he walked out of the building, an hour later, the sun felt warmer and the city felt smaller. He had gone into the building looking for his dream job, but he had found something else. He had found that being a good person was just as important as being a good professional. He looked back at the glass tower one last time. He knew that the work would be hard. He knew that there would be long nights and stressful deadlines. But he also knew that he was in a place where being kind was valued just as much as being creative. He took a deep breath and started walking home, ready to start the next chapter of his life. The dream job was finally his, and all it took was a moment of kindness and a heavy bottle of water. Success, he realized, is not just about where you are going, but how you treat people while you are on your way there. He smiled and disappeared into the crowd, no longer just a designer, but a part of something bigger. The moral of the story is simple. Skills can be taught, but character is something you carry with you. Always stay humble, always stay kind, and you will find that the right doors will always open for you at exactly the right time. This was the best interview he could have ever imagined.